Hey there, Brett here. I have been driving this 2025 Dodge Charger Daytona RT electric for just about a year. I took delivery of this a year ago this week, and I'm going to be a little busy in the next few days. So I think I'm going to do the 1 year recap today. I have been driving this car almost exclusively in the far north of Canada, about the 60th parallel. And I have some good, actually a lot of good, and a few significant warnings that I've got to let people know about. I love the car. That's we'll cut to the chase. No spoilers. I love the car, and I'm very happy with it. There are a few things that I would really like to see Stellantis improve on this car, and there's at least one serious issue with extreme winter driving that was okay for me in my specific circumstances, but it may not be okay for everybody. So I think it's important for me to be honest and transparent about that, and to let people know where some of the drawbacks are. But we are going to go through it, and I'm going to let you know what I liked and what I didn't like. So I took delivery of Lucille. Yes, I named it. The third week of June last year, 2025. Got it from the Dodge dealer in Whitehorse, Yukon. And I didn't realize that I was going to have some major adventures come up with it, but you know, it's turned out to be really good. The immediate pluses that I found with the car, obviously the styling is huge. It gets a lot of attention. Not a week goes by I don't have 2 or 3 people commenting on what a nice car it is, and I have to say, I like it myself. So I'm very happy with it. I think it's one of the best looking products that Chrysler Corp, or now in this case Stellantis, has come out with in a very long time. And it's not just the body, and obviously it evokes the old Charger really, really well, the Generation 2 from the late 60s, but it has its own spin on it. It looks like a conventional coupe, but it is in fact a hatchback. And that hatch is surprisingly useful. I would say that the Charger is probably on a par with a Tesla Model S for ability to haul things. And a Model S with its hatch is actually pretty good in itself. So I like that. Love the exterior styling. The interior styling, I think, also has a lot more character than you typically see in a lot of EVs. I had previously driven a Ford Mustang Mach-E, a really good car, by the way. With as many used ones in the market right now, I strongly recommend, if you're going to buy your first EV and you don't want to spend a ton of money, you could do worse than a used Mach-E. But I really liked the interior design, the way Dodge did this. It's still only 2 screens and a few buttons, but you know, the way they styled it, it looks really more aggressive and more sporty. So that's stuff that I really liked. The driving dynamics are really great. This is not some kind of flingable Mazda Miata, and they don't pretend that it should be. I'm good with that. It is a big GT cruiser kind of car, and I've got the RT trim, which was the base, but that was really all I wanted. I'm not a hardcore muscle car guy. I wanted something that was big and comfortable and good looking and could take me some distance on the highway. And so far, this car has worked out really, really well. Now, are there any issues with it? Well, I mean, obviously there's the controversial aspect of the fratsonic synthetic exhaust. And I know that the whole issue of synthetic exhaust sounds in EVs is a big polarizing thing for auto enthusiasts. I don't blame them. It's a little weird. And at the same time, I really like the way that Dodge executed it here. I think they did a fantastic job. It sounds really convincing. I've had instances where people were riding in the car and did not realize that it was actually an electric car. So, it's pretty convincing. I like the exhaust note. I like that the little Easter egg that Dodge incorporated into it by mixing in some of the turbine whine from the actual engine noise of the Chrysler turbine car from the early 60s. I think that was a huge prototype for them and one of my favorite Chryslers of all time. So I thought it was really neat for them to incorporate that little Easter egg in there. And the truth is, as longtime drivers, we're used to the audio feedback. I thought synthetic exhaust was a really dumb idea in general for a long time until I started driving an EV. And when I first turned it off, I realized after 15 minutes, no, I actually kind of need that noise. So we got that. Other drawbacks, the car is really good. The range is not bad, at least in good weather. Now, this is a big, heavy car, and this is Stellantis' first full EV, along with the Wagoneer S, because they're on the same platform. This was their first full-on EV in North America, and there were some teething problems. So I had some issues with the 12-volt battery going dead, mostly addressable just by boosting it. Occasionally, I only needed it towed once, and that wasn't even for an overtly mechanical, or not a propulsion-related issue. There was a problem with the hood latch. The hood latch broke, and it had to be towed in. It was taken care of under warranty. There was a known issue with the front hood. So that got taken care of. And mostly, if I had any problems with the 12-volt battery, they were addressed with a startup. But the big problem, in the winter, I live in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. It's pretty cold here. And the temperature here can get down into the minus 40s. And it was in the mid-minus 40s for a good few weeks at a time. In my EV, the range dropped to practically nothing. I would estimate I lost over 80% of my usual range. It wasn't damage, it wasn't range that I permanently lost, but for the time that it was that cold, I did lose that range. I'm seeing projected range upwards of 500-600 kilometers on the car right now that we're in the mid-20s Celsius, up getting into the high 60s, into the 70s Fahrenheit. But in the dead of winter, in the mid-minus 40s, I was getting maybe 1.1 kilometers per kilowatt hour, so less than 1 mile per kilowatt hour. In my particular case, I live in town, I'm not far from work, and I have access to free level 2 charging at work, which is a really great benefit, and I'm very aware of my privilege and that not everybody has access to them. So when people ask me about the experience of owning and driving an EV, I am very happy to share my experiences with them, both good and bad. And in this case, I want to make sure that people are aware that this is a limitation currently. It's going to go away. We're already seeing batteries from the Chinese that operate well down into the minus 30s Celsius with almost no range loss at all. So into the minus 40s is not going to reduce it that much. Faster charging, all kinds of different things. So, this is kind of a first, second gen car, but I love the look, I love the driving experience, and I love traveling in it. I did do a few trips with Lucille after I took delivery in September last year. I drove down from Whitehorse down to Vancouver. That was a trip of 2,401 kilometers, and it was largely good. It was mostly okay. There were a few little hitches here and there, among other things. No free wire chargers at all would work on the charger on Lucille, which I don't know. Maybe that was kind of ironic. That was really unfortunate because there were a couple that would have been very useful, but it didn't stop me. It didn't go horribly. After Vancouver, I headed east into Alberta and Saskatchewan to visit some family. And then when I was on my way home, I drove up through Jasper Park, which was incredible. Being able to take the car on the Icefields highway. I was a little bit worried about range, and it turned out that performing a full charge in Canmore, just near Banff there, there's lots of chargers there, and I went to an Electrify Canada one there, and that worked out really, really well, and drove all the way through to Jasper, and Jasper's got flow chargers and a few others, and that worked out really, really well. I had maybe about 100 kilometers to spare, so even on that kind of mountain road for a couple of 100 kilometers, and it was an incredible drive that day. And, headed to Prince George. There's a drive-in in Prince George. I got to go to that, and then headed up the rest of the way back to Whitehorse. So that worked out really, really well. And then in October, I relocated from Whitehorse to Yellowknife, and I was a little bit worried about that because while there's really good high-speed charger coverage between Whitehorse, or between the Yukon and northern BC, there's not so much in Alberta, and I did encounter that, certainly going from Peace River north. I had to be very mindful of how much the car was consuming, but I made it, and I got up here, and this is where I've spent the winter. And as I've said, in extremely cold temperatures, you lose a lot of range. Mind you, in the minus 40s, you're typically not even driving out of town in a combustion vehicle if you can avoid it. And, if I'm traveling in the winter, I'm going to be doing it by air anyway. I'm not going to be taking my car. So I don't feel bad about that, but I will grant that for some people can't stand to lose that capability. And for them, stay tuned, because we're looking at the advent of solid state batteries. Dodge is testing them right now in a Charger, Daytona. And we're seeing the advent of sodium batteries from China that operate very, very well into the minus 30s and 40s with minimal range loss. So it's a relatively new technology still. There's a lot of room on the curve, and things are really good. But in the meantime, I love my car. It's worked really, really well for me. I've been really, really happy with it. And I intend to keep it up for a while. I'm just leaving in the morning for yet another long trip. It's going to be down into Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC. I've got some family stuff, including a nephew's wedding that I'm attending next week. And I'm really looking forward to getting out on the road with this car. And I'll post charging updates on the road, and I'll do a video of the trip when I'm done. So stay tuned to Electric North of 60.